to market to locals. And thank you so much for our panelists for being here. We really appreciate your expertise and insight. So welcome. This is the Main Street Program Office. We've been in here only a couple of months, so we're really excited for this space to host events like this for the public and for the community. So this is our first event of the new year, and we really appreciate you coming. So I would like to introduce Samantha Armbruster, Main Street Manager. My name is Kaylee Head, Main Street Coordinator. And I want to thank Kristi Wyatt, our new Director of Communications for the City of San Marcos, for being our moderator this morning. So she is going to kick it off, introduce our panelists. Feel free to grab coffee and water in the back if you need a refill. Thank y'all so much.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you got some coffee for this coffee talk this morning. First, I want to just welcome you all here. I'm really excited to meet everyone. I'm brand new in town, and so just seeing how much participation there is among the Main Street businesses and really businesses all over town is really exciting to me, because it means that we all love our city and we want to market it, and that's why we're here, to kind of get some tips on how to do that well. I also want to recognize our elected official here today. Always good to see city folks, whether it's staff or elected officials, participating with the community. Let's kick off by introducing our panelists today. First, I want to introduce Jillian Beck. She's the managing editor for the San Marcos Daily Record. Also, we have Rick Koch. He's the editor of SMTX magazine. And then we have Brad Rollins. Brad is the editor and publisher of San Marcos Mercury.
I'm Brad. You skipped Brad.
I'm sorry, I'm out of order. I just met everyone, but I do know Brad. We go back really far, like yesterday. Brad's actually, Brad, who I skipped, is the editor of the San Marcos Buda Kyle edition of Community Impact newspaper. Eric Benar is the director of marketing for the San Marcos Quarter News. And then we have a special guest today, John Williams, who's the sales manager of KCFW Radio. Thanks for joining us today, John.
Thank you.
So the way that we're going to start this is I'm going to kind of throw out some questions that are kind of hot topics that we hear all the time when it comes to marketing, especially for small businesses. And then after a couple of questions and we get rolling, then maybe we'll take a few questions from you guys to get sort of a personal answer that fits your specific business or the downtown experience here. So I'm going to start off and we'll kind of go through the line. Anybody who has something to say, a good answer, just go ahead and jump in. But my first question is, so what are the new trends that you're seeing? I know that you guys come from a variety of different media. So we have newspapers, people here, we have magazines and radio. But what do you see as the trends kind of just overall in media, advertising, and marketing?
One thing I would say is I think as far as just reaching consumers and reaching readers, a lot of what we see, even as a print newspaper, is a lot on Facebook, which I'm sure a lot of you already know, but that's really where we get the most interaction. For instance, we could have a story that we tweet out, we might get a response or two, but when we put it on Facebook, we've gotten up to 20,000 shares and views on those, and that even though we are a relatively small newspaper, a small community newspaper, Facebook gives you the opportunity, and as well as small businesses, to really get that reach if you kind of find your target audience, because a ton of people are on Facebook, I'd say. I think in the media, a lot of journalists are on Twitter, but I think where you're trying to reach your consumers, they're on Facebook.
Speaking of Facebook, just to let everybody know, and those people who are watching this, we will have this video on Facebook after the end of this session. It's going to be at facebook.com/downtown SMTX. We also have a hashtag if you're on Twitter or Facebook, Instagram, wherever you are. It's hashtag Coffee Talk SMTX. So follow us, like us, share us. But speaking of social media, I know that everyone has a Facebook page, and we all feel like we're experts because we do it every day. But are there things that are specifically really good tips for if you're managing your own Facebook page for your business, or also do any of you offer any services to help kind of get the word out on social?
I would kind of piggyback on what Jillian said. Having a Facebook is great, and updating the Facebook regularly is very important, because there are times when we'll hear about a business and will look at their Facebook and the last post was like 2 years ago. And it's like, did they go out of business? And like drive by, no, it's hopping. There's a lot of stuff going on, but you wouldn't know it from looking at their Facebook. So continually updating Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff is pretty crucial.
Yeah, I agree. And Facebook is constantly updating and giving you opportunities to do different things. So I would even schedule maybe an hour a week and get onto your Facebook. You can schedule posts. So you can say, I want it to go out in 2 days at this particular time. And that way you're doing it all in one lump sum, one time, and you don't have to worry about it throughout the week. If something else comes up throughout the week, then you can obviously add to it. But having that ability to schedule posts throughout the week, it's very beneficial.
And what I've seen is, I've been around a while. You probably don't think so, but I've been around a while, and I've been in your shoes too, because I worked in journalism in my past. But press release was king, and everybody did a press release to announce their event, to announce their news. But now, are you guys finding that you're picking up stories from social media instead of just press releases?
Definitely, but a press release always helps. Like seriously, to increase your chance of getting coverage, it is very helpful to have. It doesn't have to be in paragraph form. You don't need to try to write the story yourself. It can be bullet points. But I know we all have heavy workloads, and so anything that can simplify it and kind of boil things down and help us be able to see as quickly as possible what it is you're trying to say, increases the chance. Every day I decide to write these stories and these stories, and if I have time, that one, and this would be a good one, but it's going to take too long. So no, and so those. It's not. It's like watching sausage being made, and the proverbial in the proverb about politics. It's not. It's not always. It comes down a lot of times to just what is most expedient.
So to Brad's point, you guys get a lot of information every day. So you're getting press releases, you're getting emails, you're getting flyers. Brett, what is it that you look for when you're deciding what story you're going to do?
I would say the first thing is just, is it newsworthy? If there's a new business that's open, like, yeah, that's great. That's something that we want to hear about. So definitely send us information about that. I think there's the old adage about when a dog bites a man, it's not news, but when a man bites a dog, it's news. So is it just sort of something that people go, oh, huh? Does it have that factor? I think that's probably the first thing.
And Rick, tell us, what are some of the things that you've seen where people are making really big mistakes? And maybe if they've done something just a little bit differently, they may have gotten coverage, or they may have reached more people.
Probably demanding coverage is the worst way to go. We'll have people write in, and they write as if it's a favor to them that we should go over there and cover them, or they're doing us a favor. But really, like he said, newsworthy for our business, we're more in the entertainment, culture, events kind of news. So for us, when someone approaches us about a story, we want them to look at it from a reader standpoint and go, is it going to be interesting to the people outside of this story? Everybody's excited about whatever story they want to tell, but it needs to be interesting to everyone else that you're going to tell it to. So we look for those kind of angles where we can help businesses out and go, okay, I know you're excited about doing this, but how can we relate it to the reader to make it more interesting to them, to ensure that they read the story and get what they want to get out of it, and you give them what they want to get out of it as well.
Just if I can add to that, absolutely. If you have a story you want to try to get in media, try to think, you consume the media, try to think where would it fit best? Who's most likely to find this particular type of story interesting? Like no one does better than community impact on openings and closings and just the nuts and bolts of what's going on, and it's particularly small business, and most people love that. People can't wait to get their mailbox good. And Rick is really strong in the features, particularly downtown. And this is your downtown guy, but he's done a lot for downtown over the years. So if you're a downtown business guy, I hate to say it, but I might suggest Rick. We, the Mercury business stories I do, I try to channel my energy into a bigger picture development and real estate transactions and that sort of deal. So yeah, you guys are pretty new, and I'm sure you know what you want, but I don't know what you want.
Absolutely, and I thank you for that. We are very new, San Marcos Corridor News, and we're focusing on the stories that impact each person in this community. So whether it's a new business opening, a new business close, or a business closing, or a 10-year anniversary, or something to do with politics and the laws that are affecting the businesses in the town, or even the HOAs that are here. Our focus is to try to bring all of that information into one location. So with getting information to us, and like they were saying, write it in a way that that helps. If you're looking at it from outside, would you be interested in this story, or make it educational? That's a great way to get a story written. Educate the audience. Don't make it an advertorial. There's a difference between an advertisement and an advertorial and an editorial. But make it educational, and there's a better chance of it getting published because we all are here to educate the community. And so if you have something unique, then let's hear it so we can get it out, so we can all get it out.
I can add something too. So one thing that we recently started, actually last week, we launched a business page. So if you picked up last Thursday's paper, instead of, we usually would have just a picture page of something going on in the community, we started a business page, and that's really highlighting different businesses. Of course, we're doing the openings and closings, but also highlighting existing businesses and business people. So if anyone's interested in that, if you can talk to me after, I can give you the contact information for our business reporter, or a reporter that focuses on business. But one thing that I would say we're kind of looking for as a community newspaper is if you can humanize your story pitch, that's a really good thing to do. And so basically for us, we're willing to do kind of small features on existing businesses, even if there isn't something new, if there's an interesting story to tell there. So say you have, a longtime employee that has a really interesting story, or maybe, a customer who was helped by the business and ended up, starting to work for the business, or some sort of story that has a human element, that's really good. And if I get a pitch that has some sort of human element, I'm more likely to say, oh, I can see a story angle that I can take here. And then also, if there's ever any change, and I think a lot of others have said this too, but if there's, something new that your business is offering, something, basically a change or something new, we're looking for either that human element or that change that we can kind of adapt to a story. One mistake that I've seen from people sending in story pitches is just saying, oh, we've been here for 12 years and we do so much for the community, because that's great, but we can't latch on to that as, a story to write. So that's amazing.
So would it be great if as a business, you actually identify people that can be a part of the story? So instead of just saying we do so much for the community, you say we help a specific family. So, there was a flood and our business went and we cleaned out the house and we helped them get new furniture. Would that make more of a story than just saying that you helped?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, and especially if, the flood happened last week versus 2 years ago.
So
timeliness is also important.
So we talked a lot about how to get some free publicity for your business, and sending press releases and working on Facebook and reaching out to the different entities to kind of pitch a story, but talk to me about what are some of the things people can do as far as advertising. So we know that every small business has a small budget for advertising. Really, everybody these days has a small budget for advertising, and we're trying to do more and more ourselves. But when we do need help, what are some of those tips that we can use? Or do any of you have like life hacks for easy ways to advertise or to create content?
On advertising, if you have a limited budget, and this is one of the things one of the points in my life I come to often where I'm like, why am I going to say this? But if you have a limited budget, Facebook's really the way to go. It really truly is. With my ad clients, I try to be as candid as possible about what you get for your money. And so if you're starting with next to nothing, which is a place I'm often at, like Facebook is a good place to look. What we do a lot of is packages that include social media marketing, as well as display advertising. There's just so much to this, and yeah, I'm a writer by trade. The advertising, like, I really have to delve into convincing myself to be interested in it. But retargeting, is anyone familiar with what that is? It's, you know, I went and bought an Amtrak ticket the other day, and for like 2 weeks, everywhere there was a Google ad, it was Amtrak. It was very effective. I noticed the Amtrak ads because I already had Amtrak on the brain. So that's a service we provide that your ad that you run at Mercury will also, you know, put on the Google network. Try to slip it into some of these other guys' websites at a cut rate. Google ads, yeah. If you can get your Google ads in on a local website, you don't have to pay full price. So anyway, I feel like I was rambling, which is not unusual. But
has anybody worked with Facebook giveaways? Is that an effective, or Facebook deals, or actually paid Facebook ads instead of just using a Facebook page?
Yeah, I've helped with Facebook ads. I've helped with Google AdWords, managed accounts for Google AdWords. And like you were saying, if you have a limited budget, the Facebook ads are great because you can determine how much you're going to spend. If you want to spend $25, that's all it's going to charge you. And you can target that to a specific area, a specific demographic, and a group of people. And the same with Google AdWords. But the AdWords can be a little more cumbersome because there's a lot more that can go into it. So you can still determine how much you want to spend on that particular ad per month, and once it hits that price, it'll stop running. And as you said, you know, with Amtrak, customizing those ads are going to help you to reach those people who are looking for specific products, your product. And so doing those types of ads definitely help out. They're very beneficial if you are on a tight budget. And I'd also like to add to that, writing an article educating people is a great way to get free advertising, because you're going to get credit for the story, for the educational piece. So when somebody's reading it, they're going to see your name and your business on it. So it's not like I was saying, it's not an advertorial. It's an educational piece, and it helps position you in the community. People in the community see you as an expert in that area, and so that's a great way for free advertising.
One thing to switch gears a little bit toward print. For those of you who still, you know, advertise with us, I know we have a lot of small businesses that still advertise with the Record. One thing is to kind of think about who your target audience is. And one example, and Marcy Holt, our advertising director, you know, brought this up with me, is that we had one business that was advertising with us in all our different publications, so in some of our special issues and magazines, and also our print paper. And then they tried this new advertising, which is called front page sticky notes. You might have seen it. they're placed on the lead story in the newspaper and can be removed. And they can be put on a refrigerator, they can be put on a notepad or a calendar, and that kind of keeps you top of mind, especially if, say you're, a doctor's office or a dentist's office or something like that, and you're catering toward families or parents, and they can say, oh, I need to, make that appointment and put that on the calendar, and it can be removed versus if it's just like within the pages of the newspaper. So that's kind of thinking about your target audience and how you can be creative.
Go ahead. When I think about Facebook, when we started our Facebook page, Facebook was really free. They hadn't started charging for posts yet, and we were really excited because a lot of the college students were on Facebook. The other half of our magazine is Bobcat fans, so we kind of try to hit this college and the locals. We built that thing up, spent a ton of money with events and ways to get people to like our page, and got it up over 10,000 followers on there. And then one day Facebook kind of flipped and they went, well, we need to make money now too. So I went to go post something and they're like, we're gonna give you 5 to 10% of your followers, but if you want any more of them, you have to pay. That was a little discouraging for building that up, but I've seen the demographics of Facebook change over the past 10 years. I don't think your college students are on Facebook like they used to. They'll have accounts because they had accounts when they were in 6th grade. But their mom and dad and grandma and grandpa, my mom is on Facebook, and you can get like this awkward family situation sometimes where I'm like, I don't really want to know what you're doing, or you don't have to comment on what I post, Mom, it's okay. So I think with social media, you have to really diversify and realize that Facebook right now is going through its own changes where it is female driven and it is probably about 25 to 30 plus, and there's a ton on there, but people my age, mid-30 guys, aren't on Facebook like they used to be. We've kind of let that go. And then the young people, they're on Instagram, they're on Yik Yak and all these new ones that keep popping up. So you got to just keep kind of rolling with that if you want to reach those people. So to me, Facebook is not the end all be all. If I'm going to put my money into the internet, I'm going to put it into Google AdWords. I think that's far more effective. You have your website, get good SEO, and anything that people are searching that has the right keywords that link up with what your business is doing, that's really what I would recommend. Because I say what print does is, at the end of the day, this phone and Facebook's argument and the internet's argument is, well, everybody's on their phone all the time. But if I see something I'm interested in, it doesn't mean it's coming from me seeing it on the internet. There's a catalyst. It could be a print ad in the newspaper. Something that I'm interested in, my next step is then to get on the phone and look that up. And so if I'm looking that up and I'm getting on Google, the most important thing is to a small business is have the right keywords, pay for AdWords, so that you make sure that you have your advantage to get directed, they get directed to your page, and then that sales process begins.
I think that Rick brings up a really good point. Is one of the things that you should do when you're advertising or doing publicity is to drive your audience to the next thing. So maybe you have a flyer, but it's going to point them to your Facebook page, or maybe your Facebook page points them to your website. And so always using all of your resources and driving people to the other resources. Also, diversifying your social media is really important, but I think people have to be really careful not to get bogged down with trying to do the next thing and the next thing because you can't keep up. And the thing about social media is there's always a new one, and it comes to a point where you can't maintain everything if you try to do all of them. So you have to figure out where your audience is. So maybe you do have an older audience that is on Facebook. Not that the whole Facebook is older. Or maybe you have Twitter people who are, those people that just want quick information. Or maybe you are marketing towards the Instagram crowd. So you kind of have to figure out where your people are, and then really focus on that, but also diversify using other things. And then the one other thing I wanted to hit on before I take questions is we talked about Facebook and you're not reaching all of your followers anymore. Facebook has a really complicated algorithm for how to reach more people. And one of the things that I found when talking to folks that work at Facebook, really in government, but just in general, is that pictures are king on Facebook. If you're using pictures and links, it will help you to reach more people. Also, if you're engaging with people and you're having conversations, I think a lot of times people think of Facebook as another website, and it's not a website. The whole idea of social media is to start conversations and really engage with people. And so if you're just posting things, but you're never talking to people online, then it's kind of pointless. You can have a website for that. And so engagement also drives the number of people who see your posts up. So those are important things to remember as well.
Kristi, I was just gonna say, there's also magic words on Facebook.
Absolutely.
One of which is like congratulations. Facebook sucks that into their system and they think it's a wedding. It's something that the people in this person's life are going to be interested in reading. And so that will show it more than they would. Congratulations is one magic word that comes to mind, but I'm sure there's others.
Absolutely.
I was going to add too, I know pretty much nothing about advertising, just to be completely honest, but we have Lacey Claisel is our community impact ad person, so she can answer any questions y'all have. We have a lot of web stuff going on, a lot of Facebook kind of strategy type stuff, and then of course print as well. She's very good at her job,
Thank you.
which is good because that's how I get my paycheck.
And before we start with questions, I also want to introduce Otis Evagaru. He is with the University Star. So he was unable to make it in time for the panel, but I also want to invite him. And there is another seat up there if he's joining
Thank you
us.
so much for letting me show up super late. We had an emergency on campus. It was a
That's parking, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, that's it too. That's what I said.
So anyone have any questions? Go right ahead.
What format do y'all prefer when you receive press releases?
Just text and email.
Text and
I don't like downloading PDFs, so you copy the stuff and the format is all messed up.
And I would add too, it doesn't need to be, I think you mentioned this, it doesn't need to be paragraph form, at least for me, just kind of the main points and then a contact phone number so I can. I just don't feel like you need to write a Pulitzer Prize winning or anything in the email.
And repetition is important. I'm sure there are innumerable people in this town that think I don't like them because they send me stuff and I never respond. I get on a weekday 60 to 80 emails a day, and not because I'm popular, but none of them are from friends. But they're all for people wanting something media related. So if you, I sometimes will be like, well, that person's been very persistent, and I admire that. So I'm going to write a story about it. You never know what's going to go in our heads.
Has anyone had like a really crazy or just eclectic way that somebody's gotten your attention for a story?
What was the last part?
A really crazy or eclectic way someone's gotten your attention for a story?
Oh, I love getting texts in the middle of the night about like crime and stuff. But as far as like business story, oh, and by the way, like if you call me about crime news and like breaking news, scandals, about the stuff, I'll also be more favorably disposed to your business stories. So there's that.
I'm not promoting bribery, but I remember being a weekend producer at an NBC affiliate, and I would get stacks and stacks of mail and email for people who wanted to pitch stories for the weekend. And half of them would go in the trash, or I'm working on my show, so I don't get to read every single thing. And I remember this lady calling me saying, hey, did you get my press release about the bridal thing we're doing at the mall? And I was like, yeah. I hadn't seen it, obviously, but she kept calling, and I was kind of putting her off. And I came into work on one Saturday morning, and on my desk there was this giant package, and it was wrapped in tulle, and it had like pink bows all over it, and it looked like a wedding gift. And I was like, what is this? And everyone around the whole office is like gathered around my desk going, are you getting married, or what's going on? And so it's this mysterious box. No one knows where it came from. It just says weekend producer on it. And we open it up, and it's a box of cookies, and the press release is on top of it. And we actually covered that story. But those are the kinds of things where, you're sending your press release over and over, or you're sending an email and nobody's paying attention. And so you have to sometimes be a little creative to get the attention of those people who are getting 80 emails a day. Anybody else have a question?
I have a question on that note with persistence. I work for the chamber and we see a lot of businesses that will send a press release before an event and maybe it doesn't run, nobody calls them back. And I always encourage them to send another press release recapping what happened and to try to include a photo that they captured there. Is that normally a good option for them if it doesn't?
It's a very good option. When journalists miss something, we're overcome by shame. And so our next chance to redeem ourselves is when it's news again, and which in this case, we didn't make it before the event. So after the event, a good time to try again.
Good.
I would say definitely for the Daily Record as well, especially because we have this Thursday business page. So if if you can get that to us by Wednesday morning, the latest, we love to run photos of things that happened in the community, and so that's a really good thing to do. Even if you write something short or say, we have this person available to be interviewed, something like that, we're definitely willing to do that.
Yes.
In terms of events that you cover, where do you fall on promoting nonprofit sector in terms of community events? Will a business's new opening always take precedence over a community event? Where do they stack up in terms of what you're promoting?
For us, it's not really, there's not really a hierarchy. It's if it's interesting and new, or humanized, or we think that, people would be interested in reading it. We want to try to highlight as much of the community as we can. So if we pick and choose, it's really, based on when we get something or if we have someone available to cover it. It's not really, we pick nonprofits over businesses or vice versa.
Is there a different way you want those sort of press releases to engage themselves?
For us in particular, I guess just speaking from my own personal experience, I like more personalized emails because we do get a ton of press releases. So I'm more willing to, find something that's written. It doesn't have to be specifically for me, obviously, but written in a way that says, hey, this is happening, this is when it is, and this is why I think it's interesting versus, caps lock headline, 6 paragraphs. I don't have time to read that as much. So quick to the point, I think, is really important.
The magazine, the magazine loves events. Our biggest challenge is people will send us a press release 2 weeks before the event. And for the magazine, we're going to print 30 days, ahead of time. So we missed out on a lot of great events that people will send us that we were like, if we would have known about this 45 days ago, not only would we put it in the magazine, but we'd probably send someone out there to interview someone about the event, get some more details on the event and make it a small little, feature or blurb or something in there. So that's kind of been our challenge, is getting people to realize the lead time that we have. And there's a lot of opportunity to get your events in our publication. We just have to know about them in advance so that we can do it right.
You were in line, please.
Appreciate it. I would agree completely. I'd say there's probably, of all the emails and event notifications we get, there's probably about 90% of them would be great to go on the paper, but there's so many of them that are just like, the timing does not work out because we're going to press tomorrow and that section's filled up or something. I actually have some sheets here with our editorial deadlines in case anybody wants them so they can know when we need the information by, but it's the eternal struggle of being a monthly, I guess, or being a, whatever it may be. So we would love to include your events, business openings. They're not in competition with each other, I don't think. We have a calendar page in every issue of our paper, so it's reserved for just that exact kind of stuff.
I was going to say, we have a self-service calendar. You can go and put your own events, upload your own photos and everything. And I thought people are going to love this because that's the majority of things we get is events press releases. I was really surprised that people I complain, I miss the days of calendar editors, and I'm like, which I was surprised because I know there's a lot of good stories out there that don't get told because we either can't see that it's a good story or think that there's something better, a gooder story. And so I thought people would love this self-service calendar, and it gets lots of views. But you know, people seem to like surprisingly, I almost feel like I'm chastising he's saying it, but people seem to like think they're too good to actually post their own calendar, and they'd rather me do it. And I object to that. So smmercury.com/calendar, and any event you have, community event, we won't run in the calendar like that you're having a 50% off sale this Saturday, but we will run any nonprofit or run your first year anniversary of your business, any number of things. So that might be an option for you.
Kind of a common theme that I heard right before you started talking, Russ, is knowing deadlines and knowing the editorial calendar. And I think that it's going to be very different whether you're talking about print or whether you're talking about radio or television. And so I think really getting to know the people that you're working with in the community, because you guys may want your stuff 30 days in advance, but if you're talking about TV, they've forgotten about it in 30 days. So they may want it, a few days in advance so that they can plan, because every day is so different. And then in radio, I don't know if you want to speak to that, what kind of timeline you guys have.
I'm sorry, repeat the question about this.
How far in advance do you want to get information for stories that you put out?
Generally, I don't work in the news department at the radio station, but generally, we try to have things at least a week in advance. I know, definitely. I mean, we are able to put things up pretty quickly because a lot of our news is, we don't have print media. We can just get on our drive show and say, this happened 30 minutes ago. And then, we also have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, so we can release things pretty immediately. But yeah, we like to have things planned out pretty well, but we're fully capable of putting a story out there the moment it happens.
I can add something specifically about the Daily Record. We also prefer things a couple days in advance because we have 5 days a week a paper, and we're extremely short staffed. So if you send me something and it's in a month, I can't plan that far in advance because we don't know, who's going to be available and things like that. And so if you have something in a day or two, we'd love to cover it. And so don't feel like that's not enough notice. Sometimes if it's that day, that's a little bit short notice, and that's something where you might want to send things after the fact. But if it's something a week, 5 days, 3 days in advance, that's something that we definitely like to get.
So maybe a good rule of thumb to start 45 days out and then sending press releases to everybody, and then update it in 2 weeks, and update in a week, update in a few days. That way you're kind of getting everyone, and you don't have to remember those specific timelines.
Think of that one that's 45 days out is to save the date for someone like the Record or a TV station or something. But for print media, that's a good time frame for us. And then, just keep hitting people up. The repetition, like Brad said, at first you might not think it's the best story, and then something comes across your desk and it's a perfect fit for this other story to complement this. And, the more you hear about it, the more likely the chances are it'll end up somewhere.
And I like to kind of add on to what Ms. Beck said down there. Being a college media, one thing that she said that's really, really important is personalizing it. College students do not relate to just a wide mass email. I mean, it's just the truth. I mean, it's really, really hard to get college students to look at something and be like, hey, for everyone that's involved, but like when you make it as personal and as personalized as possible, that's when you get the response rate. Hi, John, how you doing? How's it going? We work in student media together, so he knows the struggle. So so the press releases, when we get them, usually the 45 days thing is spot on. I mean, if you're a college student, you see something that's like 45 days out and you're seeing an inbox that's just flooded, you're kind of just like, okay, whatever. But like 30 days, okay, you see it's updated. So you're like, oh, okay. So then 15 days, now it's really suited to you. Now 10 days in, oh, I'm seeing the University Star. 5 days in, I'm seeing Dear Otis. And I'm just like, oh, so they went on our website. They saw who the new editor-in-chief is. So now it's really updated. Now we're like, you know what, maybe we want to go cover that. And that's how that works with us, because you'd be surprised how many press releases we get that still says the editor-in-chief from like 4 years ago. So clearly, you know, you didn't take the time out to personalize the information. You just, it's like, okay, you know, this is the information I got from 4 years ago. Especially with college, our transition is every year, it's constant. So you have to keep up with kind of with the times with us over at University.
And where would be a good place to look for that information?
For us, you know, we started this whole going digital aspect of it. And that's really, really important to us, universitystar.com. We've really placed an emphasis on it, especially with social media being big. Obviously, our demographic that we're targeting is college students, which is fine. But at the same time, I was in the back and I was listening, and, you know, we were talking about the assortment of social media. And absolutely right, you don't have to keep up with it. But I do think that it is important to kind of keep up with the times per se, because especially for college students, you'd be surprised how many college organizations are into things that you'd be like, really? A 22-year-old would be interested in Glee Club or chess or something like that? But it happens. There's a lot of people in that. But the problem, though, is that it's hard to find things that are updated. Everything's kind of dated a little bit. And where we're at is just constantly digital, social media, just constantly. I mean, we're adding everything every day because that, I mean, that's just truly how it is. But for us, it's the website. We have the advertising, we have the contact page. We have different news stories that you can go look and see, oh, well, if they cover that, maybe they possibly might come cover this.
Oh, I was just gonna say, to piggyback off of the college kid thing, making it personal is definitely key. Another thing that I think is very pertinent is not necessarily always free things, but like, I don't know if y'all got the Torchies email. Torchies is coming to town. I'm going. They're giving away free tacos. I mean, I think that, you know, just reaching your audience like that, or posting on social media and saying, you know, or advertising through a newspaper or a radio station or something, you know, and saying, you know, mention the University Star when you come to Potbelly's and you get half off your sandwich, or, you know, incentives for students to say, well, why am I not just going to go to the dining hall on campus, or why am I not just going to go to Lolita's Tacos, or, you know, what's going to draw the student, especially, or just the resident, to your business. And I think, at least for college kids, speaking for myself, especially, promotions, free stuff, half offs, you know, mention this and get that. That gets me out of my office or out of my apartment a lot.
And on social, it gets you sharing it, right? You can start telling all your friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I only accept variety form of news. I want to hear about news. That's my currency. I'm glad we had. I'm not trying to do closing remarks, but I was going to say this. I'm glad we're having this because I think that that there are countless untold stories in San Marcos. And as a small businessman, I know that it's just it's an unbelievable adventure all the time. You're like, how could all this stuff be happening to me? But that's the adventure of entrepreneurs. So don't let anything we say discourage you from trying to get your story out. The days when the publishers sit up here and the people, we're like double or single space and email and give us free food and those days are died. Like the world is being turned on its head. Increasingly, it's the publisher is going out to the readers and saying, like, why don't you love us anymore? And so a lot of us are cognizant of that, and we know that we need to do a better job of connecting with our communities in every way possible. And so I welcome any news you want to send me. My cell phone number is 842-9568. It's also on my website, 842-9568. This is what I do as news. So if you think you have a story, you can call me, and I may agree. I often do.
I think we have time for probably like one more question, and then I'm going to ask everybody to kind of give some contact information so that, or a little pitch for why we should contact you.
If I want to take the last one, if there's someone else that wants to take the last question. Okay, so I was surprised that I didn't hear anything about video in the trends conversation, because I feel like I've seen a lot of you know, putting more video out there. So I was curious if you could talk about how successful that's been and what types of video has been popular?
We've started doing videos slowly. We have a couple people in our newsroom that do videos, and we have got a lot of good reaction to it. And we have some where they're feature stories done in a video format, and those are always really popular, and we just do that on YouTube and link it on our website. Even as something as simple as I covered the new hospice wing opening at CTMC, and a Texas State Vocal Libre, they performed, and it was awesome. And I just took a little phone video, about 30 seconds, put that on YouTube, and that got a lot of views. And so it doesn't have to be, this grand produced video. If you can just take a short video of your event or something like that and put it online, people love watching videos. And I'd even say the shorter the better, because people's attention spans are so.
And along with that, when you're posting on Facebook or any of the social media sites, tag us. Tag our companies, the media that's around you, because it's going to get our attention as well. And then we can share it, and others can share it, and it can grow and grow and grow. So tagging people on those posts can be huge. Also sharing other people's posts. Sharing it as your business, that'll bring more attention to your business as well. So videos, yeah, they're getting bigger and bigger, and people want to see those short clips.
I'll speak to that a bit because that's my background in video and broadcast. Right now, video is king. Everybody wants to see video, and we talked about social media and the evolution and how things are changing. And kids right now are doing Snapchat, but YouTube is still one of the fastest growing social media outlets. And so everybody's on YouTube. It's grandma's on YouTube watching videos of her grandkids walking, and kids are on YouTube watching funny videos of people, I don't know, skateboarding or whatever they do. So everybody's on there. It's an audience that you can really tap into. And like Jillian said, you don't have to have a $5,000 camera. Everybody has one of these, and it has phone capabilities. There are cool things you can do, like, especially if you have the new iPhone, not that I'm promoting that, but there's slow-mo, and you can do a slow-mo video, and it can be of nothing, but it just looks cool, and so people will watch it. And you can do the time lapse, which is really awesome, where you just take a video and it time lapses it. So that's something cool that you could do of your event. So just set your camera in for 5 minutes, take video, and you can see a time lapse of how many people came in and out. And that's something cool that you can post. People like to see themselves on social media, so they'll tag themselves and their friends will see them, and they'll tag people they know. So those are cool things to do on social. And really on video is for Facebook. That's one of the best ways to reach people, is because now when you upload a video, it automatically plays on Facebook. And so as you're scrolling your timeline, you're seeing this video and you're like, what is this about? And you stop and watch it. How many of you have done that? I know I do. So it's a way to kind of catch someone's eye, whereas you may scroll past just some text. So now, yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to say, I see you guys all the time, and I just want to say thank you, because y'all are really involved in our community, and it really shows in the product that you produce. And as a person that's involved in a lot, and like the community calendar, Brad, we used your calendar for the cemetery walk and got good response from that. It's just really important, and I just want to say, as a community person, thank you to y'all.
I just want to quickly add one thing too. Again, speaking from the college student, video is great too, but one thing that is really, really growing is podcasts. That's something that we've seen grow exponentially at the Star. With our sports podcast, we have an opinions podcast, Talk It Out. We have hashtag Bobcat 411, and that's delving into what's also going on in San Marcos as well. With Inside the Newsroom, news, community of culture, kind of looking at different cultural perspectives around campus and demographics in San Marcos as well. And I think that's another place for advertising and press releases and things like that is podcasts. The students listen to podcasts all the time. You're on campus, you're walking all the time. You have breaks in between, so you can listen to a nice 15 to 20 minute podcast as well. And we feel like that's where advertising is leaning towards to it as well, with the special deals that like John talked about. Well, if you mention from the field of the fans, you get 50% off. We had that at the fan shop at the Bobcat Stadium, and that really worked out really well for us. We got the listens, and then obviously our university benefited from that. So that's another thing that businesses can take advantage of, and especially with video too as well. For the Star, we're more fortunate. We're a learning lab, so you're always going to have videographers. There's no shortage of that when you're a school of 37,000. So we're constantly pumping out video. So that's always another way of advertising. Well, we've done a video about the Main Street program. So that's another way to kind of put, your stamp on that too as well. So video and podcast definitely for a demographic that's a little younger is definitely the way to go.
So before we close, why don't we go down the line and give us a 30-second why we should get in contact with you and how we get in contact with you.
Well, I think it's very vital to get in contact with Texas State University, especially the student newspaper. We do have a large voice on campus, circulation of 6,000. We get almost 100,000, 120,000 page views per month, and that's still growing. We're on social media all the time. And what's really important is that I think now the students are really trying to connect with the community. I know that's kind of been a big gap there, but we've seen at the Star that students are wanting to be more engaged in San Marcos, especially it being the fastest growing city, fourth largest public university now in the state of Texas. It's really important for the university and the community to have that dynamic relationship that I think a lot of students are wanting now too as well. And to contact us, our office number is 512-245-3487. You can reach us by email too. My email is stareditor@txstate.edu. We have our advertising coordinator, Kelsey Knuckles. Her information is, if you go on our website, you look at contact and it's right there, and you'll see all the numbers and emails, and it's really simple. She even has the rate cards for advertising in the paper. We have numbers for podcast video, and it's fairly reasonable too as well. And we do truly think that that's the way to go now, is digital as well too. So it's really important to us. Yes, ma'am.
Her name is what?
Kelsey Knuckles. She is fantastic. She's our advertising coordinator. So she'll be looking forward to getting a lot of calls. I told her I'd represent us really well. I didn't tell her to reach out Blake and we
Sean, do you want to give us a?
Yeah, I'll give a little spiel. I work at the radio station, like she said. I guess, like he was saying, I really agree that bridge between the university and the community, because I've always heard people say, San Marcos and Texas State are two completely different things. Well, they don't have to be. We have packages. We don't just sell a Facebook package. We only sell all three. We sell Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook all together. And our most expensive one runs for an entire semester. It's like $200. So it's surprisingly cheap. If you go to 101X or another radio station in Austin or somewhere, you're going to be paying a lot more than that. My contact information is ktswsales@txstate.edu. My phone number is 832-444-1527. And you can always just go to ktsw.net and you'll see all the information. And we sell on-air packages as well. Obviously, we're a radio station. But thank you guys for your time and for allowing us to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah. My name is Eric Bonar. I'm with San Marcos Corridor News. We are pretty new, started in September. Our website address is smcorridornews.com. I'm the Director of Marketing and Advertising. I used to work for the San Marcos Chamber a few years back. So I've been in the community, been with the businesses. I understand the advertising and marketing that goes along with the businesses, what y'all are looking for. Our company believes that the information and news needs to be free. So we don't have a subscription, we're online only. We have advertising packages. We have, we'll go even more in depth and consult on any type of advertising you'd like to do, whether it's online, print, radio, news. video, TV, we can help with that. We have experience in all of those areas. We can do just about anything that you need for advertising, and also offer advice, especially with the social media and advertising on the social media, or getting into the Google AdWords. If you need some advice, how to get started on that, give us a call. Give me a call. My phone number is 512-565-5385. And I can help you out real quick. If you don't have the time to go into manage an AdWords campaign, let me know. I can help out with that, and we can help you all with anything you need. We're trying to get, like he was saying, trying to get the community, the businesses, and the students back together as one unit, rather than have that divide like we have for so many years. Thank you.
Because of that damn back end parking meeting delay, it's the third time I've had that. I hate that. I just want to make that clear. I left all my business cards in the car. So, take down my info, please. It's Rollins@yahoo.com. Cell phone's 512-842-9568. It's also a cell phone and everything's on the website under contact. With micro stories, and I'd like to work with you to increase coverage of downtown businesses. A minority owner of, I thought Scott Gregson was going to show up today. He owns a minority piece of the Mercury. That's what I was going to introduce him as our Hopkins Street Bureau chief. I guess maybe that's why he didn't show up. But we have long roots in downtown. I appreciate the special nature of downtown. And so I often find myself being a little biased to you guys down here trying to scratch out a living amongst all the construction and the back end part.
It's going to be great. Brett?
Yeah, once again, my name is Brett Thorne. I'm the editor of Community Impact Newspaper. I guess I just want to thank Kaylee and Samantha for putting this all together. This is a really cool event. And I love what you've done with the place. Very nice. Love your corn dog. Yeah, and Community Impact, for those who maybe don't know, we are a monthly newspaper. We go to every mailbox in San Marcos, Kyle, and Buda, which I think gives us distribution of about 54,000 at the last count. And we'd be more than happy to talk to you either about advertising, that's Lacey back there, or editorial stuff. I think it sounds like kind of a common theme is just send us what you have and don't feel like there's any major bureaucratic process beyond just communicating press releases or whatever it may be. So definitely send us your information. I'll give you our general editorial email address is sbknews@impactnews.com. SBK San Marcos. And my phone number is 210-241-4651. That's my cell. So yeah, just pass along whatever you have. We're always happy to talk to you guys. And Lacey.
I'd like to give y'all my contact information for advertising. It's L Claisel, that's LKLASEL @impactnews.com. And my phone number is 512-673-0207.
My name is Rick Koch, publisher at SMTX Magazine and Bobcat Fans Magazine.
You guys gotta slow down.
Speaking of the bridge between students and residents, that's really what we go after. People will ask me who our market is, and I'll tell them it's San Marcos. We don't want to be targeted to just students. We don't want to be targeted to just residents. We feel the businesses in this town live off of both, and students are locals 9 months out of the year. And then our other approach is to make sure that we hit the visitors. So we have heavy distribution in all of the hotels and high traffic areas, because when, people come to town over the summer or parents visit for graduation or dropping their kids off, we want to make sure that we're in front of them as well, because they spend dollars here. But that's why we have the flip publication. You can reach me. My cell phone number is 512-619-0494. We print off 15,000 of the issues, and 10,000 are direct mail to homes in San Marcos.
I'm Jillian Beck. I'm the managing editor at the San Marcos Daily Record. And I just want to kind of reiterate a lot of things that I mentioned today, but we really are, we want to be, the community's newspaper. We are, relatively small operation, but we want to highlight as much as we can out of the community. So like everyone else was saying, please do send us, your information of events coming up, things that are changing, or even feature ideas that you have. We'd love to hear them. And also, if, things already happened, please do send us your photos and or pieces that you write, because we do love to highlight what you're all doing as well. So even if we can't cover it, we do want to highlight it. Obviously try to send it as soon as possible, because if it happened a month ago, we might not be able to run it, because timeliness is key. But I really appreciate you all coming out this morning, and for Main Street for hosting this and inviting us. I'm really happy to be here. So I'll give you some contact information. First, my office number is 512-392-2458, extension 238. My email address, which I try to answer all the time. I have it on my phone and everything. It's jbeck@sanmarcosrecord.com. We have a specific reporter that does a lot of our business features. His name's Christopher Salinas, and his email address is CSALINAS@sanmarcosrecord.com. And then our advertising director is Marcy Holt, which I'm sure many of you have dealt with already, but her email address is MHOLT@sanmarcosrecord.com. And we're also getting advertisements for the big chamber guide, the guide to everything San Marcos. So if you're interested in being in that nice glossy magazine that comes out, definitely contact me.
Thank you so much. It's just a wealth of knowledge here. I think we've gotten so much out of this. Thank you for coming, because it was great to have feedback from the community. I want to remind you all again that we will have this video up on Facebook at facebook.com/downtownsmtx. And don't forget to tweet us. If you have questions that come up later, use the hashtag Coffee Talk SMTX, and maybe these guys will answer you on social, because they're always on. And ask your questions on Facebook. Really, let's engage and keep the conversation going.
Yes. So I also just want to close in saying thank you again. Thank you so much for city officials and city staff that joined us today. That was really great to have you here. And I also want to pitch and throw out there that we are kicking off our Love Downtown campaign February 1st. You spend $25 downtown, you're entered to win $2,000 worth of prizes. Look for these stickers and all of the downtown. And if you're a downtown business and you don't have one, please get one before you leave. If you sign the sign-in sheet before you leave, we'll make sure to send all of the contact information, lead times, all of the stuff that they mentioned out to everyone who attended. So thank you again. Please stay for a picture before you leave. And thanks again.
Bye. Thanks for watching.